Hello, welcome to Alora's College Kinesiology workout video. Your trainer today will be Julian Lopez, a junior student athlete at Loras College studying kinesiology. Today we will be performing a full body exercise with a dynamic warm-up, 3-set circuit of exercises, and a cool-down stretch at the end. The goal of today's workout is muscular endurance, working on our upper body and our lower body. To begin, we will start with a dynamic warm-up. Each stretch should be held for 10 to 15 seconds. As you can see here, Julian is stretching his arm across chest for both arms for at least 10 to 15 seconds. The next stretch Julian starts to begin is the arm overhead for at least 10 to 15 seconds with each arm. After that stretch, you can see Julian setting up for arm circles. Arm circles should begin small and gradually increase as you keep going. First starting forward and then going backward. After arm circles, Julian then shakes out his arms. After shaking out the arms and hands, Julian then begins to twist his hips to get a nice stretch in his lower back and his hips. After that, Julian then begins his lower body stretches. First, knee pulls, starting off 10 to 15 seconds of each leg, pulling them right up to your chest. After knee pulls, Julian then dives into ankle pulls. For the ankle pulls, you're pulling your ankle all the way up to your glutes and holding that for 10 to 15 seconds. As you can see, Julian gives you a front view and a side view. After the ankle pulls in the back, then comes the ankle pulls in the front. You're doing this for both legs 10 to 15 seconds, holding it at the top of your waist. Make sure for these you're keeping your balance. As you can see here, it's kind of hard and Julian loses his balance, but if you lose your balance, it's okay, get right back into it. After that, Julian then dives into side lunges. For the side lunges, you want to get into a deep squat at the hips so you get a nice little stretch in there, 10 to 15 seconds holding that at the knee. After the side lunge, Julian then dives into the touching the toes. When you're touching your toes, make sure your knees do not bend and you're reaching all the way down to your tippy toes. After the touching the toes, Julian then gets ready for the jumping jacks. Jumping jacks are 15 of these to get the blood flow going right before you get into your walk or jog. That will be coming up next. As you can see here, Julian then begins his walk. For the walk, it should be a low intensity, 8 to 10 minutes, just to get a nice blood flow before you begin your workout. If you're not feeling the walk and you're feeling a little anxious, you can do a jog for 8 to 10 minutes. The jog for 8 to 10 minutes should be at a moderate intensity. As you can see here, Julian is running around his block in great form, making sure his chest is high, pumping his arms, and make sure he's breathing in through his nose and out through his mouth. Overview of the dynamic warm-up. It should be arm across the chest, arm overhead, arm circles, shake out the arms, twist the hips, knee hugs, ankle pull on both legs, touch your toes, side lunge on both sides, shin pull on both legs, 15 jumping jacks to get the blood flowing, and walk or jog for 8 to 10 minutes. Now that concludes our dynamic warm-up, and as you can see, Julian dives right into the exercise. For the exercise, we will be doing 4 individual exercises for 3 sets. First exercise is 12 squats. As you can see here, Julian is getting low, deep into his squat. When you're doing the squat, you want to get deep and get your hips and thighs at a 90-degree angle, getting low, keeping your chest high. Here is a side view of the squat. As you can see, Julian is getting low, trying to keep his back straight and his chest high. The next exercise is a modified push-up. These are for a set of 10, and you want to get your arms out to shoulder width, pushing all the way down to the bottom and all the way up, keeping your back straight and your knees intact with the ground and the back. Here is a side view of the modified push-up. As you can see, Julian gets ready, trying to keep his back as straight as he can, his knees intact with the ground, going all the way to the bottom and pushing right up. The next exercise is mountain climbers. Mountain climbers will be for a set of 12, and for these, you want to keep your back straight, getting into a plank position, shooting your knee all the way up to your chest. It is important to try and keep your hips straight so you can intact your abdominal core. Here's a side view of what the mountain climber should look like. As you can see, Julian is getting his knees all the way up to his chest. The one thing he could do better is try and keep his hips a little lower. They are high in this video. The next exercise is jump squats. Jump squats are similar to squats, but for here, you're going to be exploding off the ground into a jump. When you're jumping, you're exploding high and landing soft, keeping your chest high and getting low into that squat, getting as high as you can. Be careful not to hurt yourself if you are indoors. Here is a side view of Julian performing the jump squat. As you can see, he's not jumping his fullest potential because he is indoors. He does not want to hit his head on the ceiling. So be aware of this if you are indoors. But for this, try and keep your form as best as you can, getting low in that squat. Here's an overview of the full workout. 3 sets of 12 squats, 10 modified push-ups, 15 mountain climbers, and 10 jump squats. Make sure that between each set, you're getting water and are fully energized to complete each set at a high intensity to make sure you're getting the full benefits of the workout. After finishing 3 sets of the main movements of that physical activity, we'll be jumping into 3 sets of core. For the first core exercise, we'll be performing 20 crunches. For the crunches, you want to keep your feet up in the air, squeezing your core every time you crunch. For these, you want to make sure you get full extension, coming all the way to the bottom and crunching all the way at the top. The next core exercise is 12 elbow to knees. For this one, you want to keep your feet up high in the air, touching your elbow at your knee in the middle. You want to keep your legs up in the air as long as possible, squeezing your core. The next exercise is glute bridges. We will be performing 10 of these, shooting your hips up as high as you can. You can try and get a little pause at the top. You should feel it in your hamstrings. After glute bridges will come plank push-ups. You will be performing 10 plank push-ups. For plank push-ups, you want to keep your hips straight as well as keep your back straight, dropping down to a plank and then coming back up into a push-up position. For these, they are kind of difficult, so take your time and try and have the best form you can. For an overview of the 3 sets of core, we will be performing 20 crunches, 12 elbow to knees, 10 glute bridges, and 10 push-up planks. Make sure between each set you are rehydrating, making sure that you can perform the exercise at a high intensity. As you can see, after performing the exercise, Julian was very tired, so make sure you are rehydrating and getting ready for your cool down. Now comes the cool down. Julian dives right into it, doing the arm across chest again. But first starting off with his right arm, then his left. He then begins the overhead stretches, first starting off with his right arm, and then his left arm, making sure he's holding that for 10 to 15 seconds. Then Julian touches his toes, making sure he's keeping his knees straight and bending all the way down to touch his tippy toes. Make sure when performing these static stretches, they are doing it full intent because mobility is very important post-exercise, as Julian gets right into his butterfly, holding it there for 10 to 15 seconds. After the butterflies comes the leg reach, doing it on both sides, trying to keep your knee on the floor so you feel a nice stretch in your hamstrings and your back. Do it on both sides for 10 to 15 seconds. After doing it on both sides, then bring both legs together and do the middle. Reach to the middle with both arms to the best of your ability. After that, Julian then stands up and begins the ankle pulls again, holding it on both legs for 10 to 15 seconds. After performing the ankle pulls in the back, perform it in the front, pulling his ankle all the way to the top of his waist, getting a nice good stretch in there. After completing those static stretches, Julian is now happy he completed his workout. For a brief overview of the cool down, it's static stretching that includes arm across, arm overhead, touching your toes, butterfly, leg reach with both legs and middle, ankle pulls, shin pulls, which is just the ankle pulls in the front, and knee hugs. You can also walk or jog for 8 to 10 minutes, just as you did in the warm-up, if you'd like. Now that concludes our Loras College kinesiology workout video by Julian Lopez. Thank you so much. I hope you were able to take something away from the workouts today.